today we are going to break down a track that I made just the other day, just as sort of like a quick demo track, just to show you some ideas if you are struggling with your composition. And I also utilised a tool in Kontakt that you may want to have a look at if something you struggle with is coming up with chord progressions. Okay, so first things first, let's actually have a listen to the track. So this is, yeah, just a quick sort of track that I made for a demo that you can listen to.
Scary when you know, fall in love, or you're, you know, seeing someone, or you like someone, or whatever it is. Things fall apart, things fall apart. Take away my sparkle.
So that was a track I accidentally just muted a part by mistake at the end, which I wasn't meant to, but you get the idea. So let's break it down. So starting with the chords, so looking at harmony, let's go into Kontakt and have a look at this. So this is a tool that you can use, called Chords tool, on any sort of pitched preset. So at the moment, I just turn that off. So playing just normal chords. This, and I'll turn the echo off as well. So this is Alicia's keys. I'm just using a piano preset from Kontakt. So instead of playing all the notes of the chords and thinking of the chord yourself, if you struggle with it, I turn it back on here. What you can do is just play a note. So I'm just playing C1 right now, and it's playing D major 7. So it will essentially link the notes on the keyboard to a chord that's fit to whatever key that you've picked. So at the moment, I'm in F sharp minor or G flat minor, whatever one, but I usually go by F sharp minor. If I just make a duplicate track quickly, that will show you how to actually get it all up. So we're in Kontakt. If I turn the delay off, let's pretend this wasn't there. So I've got my preset, I've got the keys. Okay, and then where it says tools, I click tools and I click chords. Let's pick a preset. So that's a bit of an interesting one. So I can go through all different ones. That's nice. So you can use that to create chord progressions if you are struggling, and each preset should pick chords that fit. So you can humanize them here. Just turn the reverb off for a second. You can have it so it sort of arpeggiates the notes as you play them. And you can change the intensity of that. You just have to bear in mind that obviously if I play, for example, a C on the actual MIDI controller, that doesn't necessarily mean that the chord that's going to be played is going to match up to that. It's going to match up to whatever key you've picked. So use it as a guide, but just remember to use your ears if you're writing melodies or anything like that. Don't rely on the piano roll. Okay, so that is that. I've got my chords. I've used the same chord progression all the way through. If you are struggling with your track and structure, keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it. Start simple and then develop it from there. So this whole track is just the same chord progression repeated. The way in which I tried to sort of create more interest was so through things like filtering, doubling up octaves. So in this sort of bridge section here, I've got the same settings, but I put a high pass filter on it. So that just sort of helps, not only with development, but just changing up the texture as well, so thinning it out a bit, so that other parts of the track can shine through. So that's the harmony. Now for the melody, this track, so I actually went for more like a sample triggering sort of vibe. You can see all of my samples here, all of my quick sample tracks and bounces in place. So on quick sampler, you've got okay, so you've got sample here following the tempo, and I think for this particular track I just sort of played the original note. Got some automation on the panning happening there. Okay, and then as well I've got, I did used to have some there but it's deleted, so now I've just got automation on nothing. Yes, I also used the formant shift tool on this effect here, vocal transformer, just to give it that sort of deeper sounding formant. I've got other examples. I've got, I made use of the slice. So you can see so how this one's working is, if I press the note, just turn the effects off for a second, it will play as long as I hold it down because I've got play to end and gate. If I was to turn that off, if I do play to end without gate, it will just keep playing on there. Even if I sorry, I pressed play. Even if I have let go, so that's why I turned them both on. And that's some examples of the samples, which I won't go into too much depth. I've done some automation there on the tremolo. Got a bit of filtering happening in the EQ. But yeah, so that's the sample side of things. Pop them all in a folder. And then I've also got in this chorus section these little piano parts here. And that just sort of adds like another layer. It's nice. It's like a counter sort of melody that's behind all these samples. And what I also did with that melody is I bounced one of them in place. So right click, bounce and place, which obviously turns our MIDI data into an audio track. I kept the original source. I was presented with this. So if I just undo what I did. So here is the bounce, and then I open up the region more, reverse. And then what this does, it reverses it, and it's just this now nice sort of ambience that's in the background of the verse. And it worked, so I left it in there. Okay, that's your melody. In terms of the texture, you can visually see it, which is something that's really nice about Logic. It starts off quite thin, builds up a little bit more, builds up even more if I open these as well for that chorus section, drops down again for this sort of bridge, middle eighth. To be honest with you, I could have done more of a build. It works for the purpose of this demo. Goes back into the final sort of chorus. And now, while it doesn't look massively different, there is a lot that is different. So, for example, I have changed the drum pattern just for that rhythmic interest. So in the first iteration, I have just looped these samples behind the drums that I programmed in, just for a bit of a thicker texture. But when they came back, I chopped up the samples and sort of organised them and shuffled them to make it more my own, which I recommend if you are using any samples. Remember that you need to actually manipulate them in order to gain credit, and even more could have been done really. So a good thing that you can actually do is if you, for example, slice the samples in like even sections, sorry, you could then drag this into your quick sampler. Ooh. And then you can, with a bit of tweaking, adjust and select which bits that you'd like to play and sort of mesh up even more. So that's something that you can do. I also added, so you've got this extra sort of pad here, which is a bit more rhythmic. So there you go. I also did a little bit of automation on the frequency as well, just to give it a bit more of a shape and movement aside from just the rhythmic sort of pattern that it plays. I changed up the hi-hats. I also I changed up as well the samples that are being triggered a little bit as well, just so there is a lot happening that's different, just to differentiate that final chorus from the first chorus to repeat, sorry, not to repeat, to prevent the risk of just repeating the same thing over again. And then we obviously go into our little outro, completely pulling back the texture just to piano, a little bit of samples, and then this little sort of quote that I found.
I'm not gonna let somebody take away my sparkle.
Okay, and I just thought that was a nice way to end. As well, back in this chorus again, so I've made use of the, a bus here, and I've applied remix effects to add even more rhythmic changes and interest. Okay, and how I did that was, first of all, had a look at my tracks and thought, right, what is playing at that point that I would like to send to this bus that I'm going to use as an effects bus. So I selected everything that I was playing. Press X to open up your mixer. Oh, sorry. I selected everything that was playing from the side here. So you've got these chords, these arpeggiator. Oh, if you press Command rather than Shift, I always forget, and then I do it and I remember. You can select everything. And this is the quickest way I've found so far to do this. If you can find a quicker way, drop me a comment. So then if you open up the mixer, everything's selected, and then on any of the tracks, if you select what bus you'd like to send it to, so they should all, I don't know why, oh, I sent this one to 13, I sent the group track to 13, but if you pick 13, it will then send all the tracks that need to go to 13 to 13, which then would appear over here somewhere. Where's it gone? Oh, I've moved it over here. Here it is. It usually appears on the right, but I've just rearranged my tracks. So here we go. I've applied my remix effects. I've then added in my automation. And then once you add it in, I did it through the latch automation. It then appears as an output track and you can control it and sort of fine tune it here from the main window. Okay, so that is what I did as well, just more development. Now let's have a look at other things I've automated within the track. So I've automated some panning, I've automated, again, more remix effects, but I didn't use that part. I have got, so I bypassed an effect. So what I've used here is tremolo. So it's off, now it's on. So to do that, I usually use the drop down menu and I go to Smart Controls. No, I don't, it's main. Then you can choose which instrument that you'd like to bypass, and then I just select the tremolo. So that's one other thing I used. I bypassed some delay as well on this track, but nothing overly fancy. I did actually, again, use the gator. I love the gator. On the chords over here, it's very subtle, and I also, as I mentioned, I've got the filter automation here on that sort of jumpy, chaosy section. So a little bit of automation, just to show some things that you can think about doing in your tracks. Okay, so hopefully this shows some ideas. The last thing I just want to talk about is some of the transitional things I did. Very small, but help. This here. So how I did that is, if you listen to this chord, it is this chord but reversed into itself. So to do that, I made a duplicate track. I then copied over the MIDI, just kept the first chord, bounced it in place, which I won't do right now. I then reversed the track, similar to how we reversed this melodic piano, and then I also again used the gator to give it that stuttery sort of effect going into the next section. So that just sort of helped smooth out that transition a little bit. And alongside that as well, we've got a serum sound that I made. There's loads and loads of options on serum in the noise. And if I just play that. There it is. You can see that I just used some envelopes there to get that swooshing effect rather than actually automating it. So that is how I did that transition. So if you are struggling with your tracks, have a think if there's anything you can take away from this video, whether that be using the chords tool on Kontakt just to help you get started, whether that be experimenting with the different types of sample triggering styles on Quick Sampler, if it's bringing something back at the octave higher, or if it's bouncing something in place and reversing it. So there's so many things that you can do in Logic that can help create more interest with something quite simple, as I have hopefully demonstrated here today. If there's any other sort of things that you guys would like me to sort of make any videos about, let me know as always, and I'll try and make them when I get free time. But I just thought this might be something nice just to help anyone who might be struggling at the moment with the composition side of things.